All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next session featuring Jessica Best, the prize fight. Claim your winnings with email ROI, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, also, quick reminder, we are having a live Q&A towards the end. We're running a little behind, but please bear with me as we get going here. Please throw those questions in the Q&A tab. It should be in the upper right-hand side. Look to the upper right-hand side. Make sure you throw those questions in here. I'm going to go ahead and get Jessica's amazing presentation queued up right now. See you in just a moment.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be at Message Mania. My session is going to be on claiming your winnings, right? Your email return on investment. We are in this for the prize. So let's dive in, because today I'm going to share with you a couple of my favorite secrets. First, this is me, Jessica Best. I call myself the Shemale Geek. I guess that's my pro wrestler name at Better Av. I have my own consultancy and have for the past about year and a half, and actually attended email camp last year and got to learn some great things from fellow speakers. I'm so excited to be part of the lineup today. So today we're going to go through 6 fighter rounds, right? And the first 2, I actually want to start with 2 things that I can guarantee will increase your ROI, or return on investment. And yeah, really, like, you can hold me to that. These are mathematical equation improvers. So if you're not already doing those 2 things, then that's where I want to start, because the truth is, email marketing has the highest ROI of any channel. My numbers, I finally gave up on using like research numbers. My numbers for my clients is between $20 to $100 or more for every $1 invested in email marketing. But you got to do it right. Oh, and by the way, my husband helped me add a bunch of pro wrestling terms throughout this deck. I hope you have fun with it. If you know who they are, shout it out in the chat. Oh, you didn't know is my first one. So, all right, $20 at least return on investment for email marketing, but we got to do it right. And the first way that I can guarantee an increase in your email return on investment is to be looking at your inbox placement. That's the theme of the day, right? Deliverability. And frankly, if you don't know what your inbox placement is, you might be part of the lower end of the average. On average, 17% of legitimate permission-based marketing emails never make it to the inbox. And this is like not Russian pharmaceuticals. This isn't obvious spam. This is those of us who are trying really hard to play by the rules and send strong, permission-based, great quality content to our subscribers. So what if that 17%, that 1 in 6, actually made it to the inbox? Out of the people that you're sending to, 1 in 6 aren't getting it. But what if they did and they acted like the other 5 out of 6, meaning they opened and clicked just like the rest of the list did? You're actually increasing your ROI by 20% just by getting to people you were already sending to. So if you were wondering why you're spending a day in a deliverability camp, this is why. We're trying to recoup that 20% return on investment lift. Now, nerd math, I promise I've done the easy math for you here. Do not get distracted or scared of a slide full of math. But let me give you a couple of numbers. Let's say you've got 83% inbox placement, right at average, and you're sending to 100,000 people. Let's say your clicks show, let's say 3,000 clicks or a 3% click-through rate, and then your expenses are around $1,000 for 100,000 sends. Your revenues, I just took super easy math here. We're saying that 10% of those clickers go on to buy a $50 cart, right? Super easy math. I'm not trying to make this hard. So calculating my return on investment, I have a $14 for every $1 invested return. Now, if I can boost that inbox placement to 100%, out of 100,000 people, I'm getting to 100,000 people. It's never going to be 100%, but the closer we get, what we're realizing is that actually our click-through rate was 3.6%, because it's not 3,000 divided by 100,000. It was 3,000 divided by 83,000. So 3.6% click-through rate means that all other things being equal, our click-through rate's going to go up because our inbox placement went up. So now we got 3,600 clickers. And if 10% of those people go on to buy a $50 cart, suddenly we're talking about $18,000 in revenue. And that's a $17 return on investment. We've already jumped from 14 to 17. All right. So let's talk about it. If you're monitoring your inbox placement, you may be seeing 95, 97, 99% inbox placement. Y'all, I can't help you grow that 20% I promised. But for those of you who aren't tracking this, you're probably at that 17% or maybe even lower that's never making it to the inbox. So you may be lowering that number on average. The key here is that you should be watching it. You should be looking for it. There are some things that your email service provider can do for you, some technical setup things, but the truth is the deliverability is also your responsibility. I'm going to break it down what your technology can do for you versus what you are responsible for in deliverability. First, your technology should do a couple of things on the technical side, like set up DNS authentication on your domain registrar, GoDaddy or whatever, like SPF, DKIM, and this year, DMARC. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be talking about that today. This is basically saying the IP address that you're using from your email platform is allowed to send from your email domain. Next, they're going to make sure that your templates automatically pull in the CAN-SPAM required components into your email template footer usually. This is things like an unsubscribe link that works and a physical mailing address. And this is left over from CAN-SPAM 2003. They're also going to make sure that they automatically and immediately unsubscribe anybody who either opts out or who complains. And that's a bit technical, right? Who complained to their inbox that I'm spam? Well, they're listening for that. They're sort of subscribing to information about who needs to be removed from your list. That is all taken care of for you at most email providers. And then, of course, they're also going to be monitoring things like bad addresses. So they'll automatically and immediately remove hard bounced email addresses from your list for you. This one's actually not true for every single email platform, but for most of the big ones, this is long since taken care of on the technology side. And this is an old one. The last one here is that they'll throttle sending, meaning, yeah, you could actually send 1 billion emails in a second, like technology moves that fast. But then inbox providers like Gmail and Yahoo are like, are you trying to get around us? Are you trying to sneak through to the inbox before we realize that you're the bad guys? So really high volume sending really quickly sometimes used to and can look like spam. And so they'll throttle that sending kind of intentionally so that they spread you out a little bit, make you look a little bit more valid. And again, that is maybe an old rule, an old thing, but it's something that I still abide by, especially as things get difficult with new authentication protocols. But the truth is, your deliverability is really your responsibility. So what can you do to improve your deliverability? Well, first, be permission-based. Ask permission before you send subscribers anything at all. And keep that list clean and up to date. When somebody opts out, opt them out. Of course, that means do not buy email lists. In CAN-SPAM US, it is not illegal to buy an email address, but otherwise it's basically illegal to buy an email address. Most email platforms have in their terms and conditions that they don't allow you to batch send email to those email addresses that you would buy from a list vendor. And 12, 13, 14 states, going on 14 states now have privacy laws that either imply or explicitly state that you have to have explicit permission from your email subscribers. Email's a permission-based medium. The user on the other side has the complaint button. They have "this is spam" and they can click on it and penalize you, unfortunately. So we're playing by their expectations and their rules. The third one here is create good, consistent content that gives the value that subscribers originally signed up for. Okay. Duh. This one is just a good idea, good principle of marketing, create good content. But this is going to help us meet those expectations that we set when somebody signed up for our email list. We also want to avoid all image emails. This one's a little bit old as well, but I find it still to be mostly true. These all image emails sometimes look blank to spam filters, and they think that maybe you're trying to sneak something past them. So instead of sending an empty email to a spam filter and then guessing to send you to the spam folder, we want, I think it's like 400 or 500 words of text, true text in our emails to make sure that we have something for that spam filter to read. And maybe don't make those words free, free, free in all caps with multiple exclamation points. That's the last one here. The truth is, if you're a true, valid, permission-based email marketer with a strong sender reputation, you should be able to send anything you want. But The flip side of that is there are still a fair number of spam filters out there listening for words that look like spam. Red font, all caps, huge letters, those types of things. And then, of course, multiple exclamation points, especially in the subject line. You can do this a little bit, but don't go overboard because at some point it tips the scales and you just look like spam. So there's a trick to this. And actually, Cinch is one of the tools you can use. You can see how your email is going to land before you ever hit send. This is sorcery, in my opinion, right? The fact that you can run your email through sample spam filters and see whether the spam filters think, a broken image. Well, you're going to get docked a point for that. Or huge images, right? That's another big one. Huge images may make you look more like spam. We're stuffing somebody's inbox with something that takes a lot of data to download. So Cinch has a Mailgun product that lets you forecast your inbox placement before you actually hit send. Then you can see where your emails probably landed. Now, there's no perfect science here, but I personally still love seed list testing. Cinch has another product for this. This is inbox placement. What percent of my emails probably went to the spam folder or went nowhere at all versus went to the inbox? That's where we get that 17% average, right? 17% of email on average isn't making it to the inbox. And that's based on tests like this. The seed list goes in right when you send. It's maybe 100 names, something like that. And they're just checking how many of those got to the inbox and how many of them maybe went to a spam folder. And that's going to give us a good estimate on how our email did. The secret sauce is that you're really looking to maintain high engagement. Any email program that has high open rates and maybe high click-through rates, they haven't decided if we're including that or not. If your email subscribers engage a lot with your emails and don't opt out or complain very often for your emails, then you're probably in the clear. That means you're a legitimate sender, and inboxes love to see that engagement. So there's a couple of tricks to this. First of all, don't send too often. If you send a daily email, then Tuesday's email is going to take some of the opens that would have gone to Monday's email just because it's further up in the inbox. You also shouldn't send too few emails. And generally the rule here is at least once every 30 days. Now, hopefully you guys are sending a little bit more than that, or you've got some automated program or something that always runs and has volume. But if you send too infrequently, you can get out of whack where one unsubscribe or one complaint looks like it's 1,000%, looks like it's infinity% because our last send was over 30 days ago, and inbox providers have about a 30-day memory. So just sending too little in volume can also be sort of a technical way you can get stuck in spam filters. Number 3, send at different frequencies for those who open everything, the hyper-engaged segment, versus those who are a little sleepy. And we're going to come back to that idea, monitoring the engagement of our subscribers and then maybe nudging them and maybe letting them go if they're not going to be engaged with our emails anymore, because the truth is they're kind of dragging us down. So that brings us to item number 2. The number 2 way that I can guarantee to improve your email ROI is by addressing or handling, as a wrestler would say, your inactive subscribers. Nearly 60% of marketers said that they don't have any program or policy to either identify or handle their unengaged contacts. And this is just as of 2023. So let me just give you kind of some math stuff again. You think you're getting, let's say, an open rate of 30% on average. This is post iOS. Half of these numbers are wrong or lies, but let's say that an average 30% open rate, and then the rest of them just didn't open. But what's actually happening is, yeah, you got a 30% open rate and 35% didn't open this email, but then probably about statistically 35% never opened this email, meaning they've been on your list for over a year and haven't opened or clicked in over a year, or have never opened and clicked. This is those sleepy subscribers. This is those folks on your list that you're like, are you still there? And there are 2 ways to address this. One is that we try to re-engage them, right? If we can get even 1 or 2% of those sleepy subscribers to wake back up, that's revenue. We're increasing the revenue part of the ROI equation. The real savings, though, is in cost savings, and that is trimming the rest of those sleepy subscribers if we really can't reactivate them. And then we save in our expenses portion of the ROI formula. All right, hang in there. One more math slide. You guys are almost done. Nerd math, round 2. What could your ROI be if you didn't spend money on the sleepy subscribers in your list? Now, remember, with the first guaranteed way, we went to approximately 100% or high open rate, or inbox placement. We send to 100,000. We get 3,600 clicks. Our expenses are $1,000, right? That ROI of $17 is where we left off. But then if 35,000 of those subscribers are never opening or clicking ever again, let's trim them, right? Let's see if we can re-engage them and then trim the rest. So really, we're sending to 65,000 subscribers, still getting the 3,600 clickers because all of the clickers are active subscribers, not inactive subscribers. But where we're saving money is on volume costs or on list size costs, right? However your email platform is charging you, we're bound to see a savings there. So the revenue stays the same, but the costs go way down. And suddenly we see almost a 60% lift in ROI to $27 for every $1 spent in email marketing. I'm telling you, if other channels could get a $27 ROI, they'd get raises and champagne at the end of the year. This is really unique to the email space. And we want to make sure that those two features, those two functions are part of what we can do really well. All right, so what does it look like to try and re-engage those subscribers? So for those who haven't opened or clicked or bought anything with that same email address in a while, then we're going to try and re-engage them. This is an example from Applebee's. We noticed that you've been away. Stay on the list to keep getting our great offers and product announcements. And then the third email, if you still haven't engaged, is actually an offer. Click here to stay on the list and we will immediately send you a $10 offer, right? Now, how long this waits to go out? Some clients, it's 13 months, right? They've been on the list for 13 months and haven't opened or clicked in 13 months. For some clients, this is 6 months. Or 20 cents. If you're a daily sender, 6 months might be a really long time. So you may figure out what your right fall off point is. And then for those who really don't respond, it's time to say goodbye. And that third email typically will let them know, we're going to go ahead and take you off our list. Click here if you ever want to stay on the list or get back on. All right, those are my guaranteed ROI increasers. Next up, let's talk about some things that nearly always increase your ROI, like data-driven emails with automation. Automation is our super champ. This is the reigning heavyweight champion of email return on investment. And it's because their response rates, the open and click-through rates for these guys are usually 2 times that of our average sort of calendar-based sends. In this case, this is a photo to show email, not just happy birthday, here's your coupon, but literally 60 days before that, you're going to be celebrating your birthday. We are perfect for big parties. Book your birthday party at Photo to Show and we'll have the meat parade ready for you. Now, even if you don't have birthday on file, keep in mind that welcome email is actually going to be your highest open rate likely for any campaign that you do. Birthday tends to get a better click-through rate, and that's usually offer-based, but don't underestimate the power of your welcome email. Data-driven email marketing way number 2, segmentation, using data to pump up our relevance. That's going to be any data that you collect and putting it to use in a wise way. So for IHOP, they actually asked, after you signed up for their emails, they send you a quick survey that says, who do you dine with? What part of the day do you usually eat at IHOP? And if you said you had kids under 12, then during the holidays, Halloween, we're going to send you a scary face pancake free kids dine-in offer. So the rest of the list gets I think it was a Reese's Pieces themed Halloween stack of pancakes. But if we know for a fact that you bring in your kiddos, we're going to make sure that you know there's an offer on the table. And then, of course, data-driven way number 3 is head-to-head battle. We're going to A/B test to know who our top performers really are. We're going to test because we're basically bad at guessing. When I ran one of these tests with an office full of email marketers, we guessed right about 40% of the time. So yes, you can have a hypothesis, but a true A/B split test is going to be how we get to the true winners, the true heavyweight champions. So this is a great example, right? We're using data in our emails with personalization. But does it work better at the front of the subject line or the back of the subject line, right? We know the personalization is probably going to lift, but where and how do we use it to get the most out of it? And make sure you're testing mechanisms, right? Personalization at the front or the back of the subject line, as opposed to subject line copy, right? There was a big published test where out of 20 subject lines, the best performing subject line was hey. Okay, I can't use that over and over again. It won't be as effective the next time. So in this case, we're really looking for repeatable results. Does cleverness outweigh clarity? Does an offer in the subject line work better than an offer in the pre-header? Spoiler alert, put your offers in the subject line. All right, so lather, rinse, repeat. Woo, Ric Flair. The 5 things you can do to improve your ROI are improve your inbox placement, reactivate or just trim your inactives, launch automated emails, even if it's as simple as a welcome email, segment your audience by how engaged they are and what information they've given you. And then create a feasible testing strategy. I add the word feasible here because I feel like we used to say, test something with every send. It's a terrible idea. You're going to get exhausted. Test about 10 things a year or maybe once a month. Only those things you think have the best chance at lifting your ROI. With that, can I get a hell yeah? Let's take some questions, Thomas.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get Jessica up here for some Q&A. Jessica, go ahead and hop up here. Let's see you on stage. Here she comes, ladies and gentlemen. Jessica Best, what is going on? How you doing?
Good. It's fun to watch the chat blow up while we're talking about stuff like this. Thank you all for playing along with my pro wrestling education. Oh, sorry, somebody just said it. Can you see my shirt?
Love it. My job is email. Heck yeah. Hey, I'm
this
just
is
gonna...
a company called Raygun in Kansas City. Did a bunch of jobs, did a bunch of like my job is meetings, my job is whatever. And I saw this one and I had to have it. So
Love it. Real quick, I think there's some stuff you wanted to kind of iron out real quick before we get going here.
yeah. So the other thing that I saw in the chat was the 400 words in email as a minimum. I must have misspoken. I apologize for that, guys. It's 400 characters. This was a study that was done by Email on Acid, another tool that you can use to sort of check your email out before you send. And they actually measured it. Like at 500 words, we were safe. At 400 words, we were usually, or not words, I just did it again, characters. So it's a little bit like 3 subject lines length. So don't think you have to write a novel, but you do have to have some text. And I would not bank on the fact that alt text counts in that. It possibly does, but I would say that it's fair to say you got to put some actual visible words into your emails.
Got it. And then let's see. We want to talk about define engage. Any remarks on that?
Oh, yeah. So lots of really good conversation around, all right, but if I sell Christmas trees, like if I have a season, how do I define my engage? Super, super important here that you have at least 2 seasons. Does that make sense? So like, yeah, that person hasn't bought anything since November of last year. They might buy again in November or December of this year. So we do a 13-month cycle for seasonal, usually, even if I slow down what I send to them between the high season. So I might send like something in June and then lay off. Like if they don't look like they're engaging between high seasons, then I may send less often to them. Otherwise, I actually think that 12 months is a pretty good baseline. Some of the folks were saying 90 days. That's really fast. Think about how much changes over the course of the first 90 days of your new relationship with a subscriber. Be careful not to throw away a new friend, right? It's important that we engage those folks and try and figure out what would re-engage them as opposed to just saying, that's it. Now, if you have a daily newsletter, 90 days is plenty.
Love it. And also too, y'all don't forget,
since 400 characters is a minimum. Thank you for asking. Sorry.
There you go. Love it. Don't forget, y'all, since we have a tool for measuring inbox placement, make sure you check that out. All right, we got time for about 1 or 2 questions really quick before we head on to our really quick break, everyone. Let me see here. I'm taking a look at some of these amazing questions. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, make sure we upvote the ones that we want answered really quick.
I can pop in here, Thomas. The other
go
one
ahead.
I saw was, do we want to avoid the word free? Please don't. Please don't avoid. That is one of the most powerful words in the English language. And as a marketer, we have got to be able to use it. What I wouldn't do is use it 5 times in a row in all caps with 20 exclamation points. The more you yell, the more you lean into something that looks like what spammers have used in the past, the less likely that is to pass content-based spam filters. And to be clear, some inboxes don't care if you say free, free, free pharmaceutical red text exclamation points, because they know if you're a valid sender or not based on how people are engaging with your email. But there are still a few content-based spam filters out there, and we want to make sure that we're not flubbing that up. So things like free or you or discounts and prices or emojis, all of that is fair game. You just want to temper it so that it doesn't go completely berserk and throw off your spam score.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. I think someone told me one time, email like a human. Email like a human, most importantly, because it's like we start to pick up on the things that, and even too, I get spoofed and spammed all the time. I got someone right now trying to impersonate my godmother somehow, some way, but I started to notice, hey, that person is not human. That is obviously not my aunt. So everyone, ladies and gentlemen, email like a human, please. Okay.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Okay. Let's see here. Moving on. Okay, Jessica, you want to pick one more last one before we let you go for the day?
Let's do it. So from the Q&A, this may be better for somebody else's session, but somebody had asked about warming your email. So like, how much can we throttle over the course of that? Depends on the inbox. And to Laura's point at the earlier presentation, it's not like they published that. They kind of became transparent for a while. And then spammers started using the rules to break the rules. And so we don't know what the threshold is, but especially when you have a brand new, let's say you just moved to a new email platform, that's why we do something called a warm up, right? So we're kind of sending a little bit or throttling our sending. Maybe it's 10,000 the first day, maybe it's 5 or 15,000 the next day. And there's some really great resources that have been posted in the chat for that as well. I had Gabrielle ask what the top 5 best subject lines are. And girl, if I knew that, I would be a millionaire and I would not need Ric Flair references in a presentation. That's what the testing is for, right? That's why I say test mechanisms. I can tell you that if you have an offer, it has to go on the subject line. It can't work for you if it's not right up front. If you can give something away for free, free delivery and free shipping are 2 of the most powerful offers I've ever seen. So if that fits with your brand and you can offer it with a good ROI, then give that a try. And then the other thing is just that shorter subject lines have started to be really important, or at the very least, put the good stuff, the offer, the free stuff, maybe my first name in the subject line, put the good stuff in the first 25 characters of a subject line, because that's going to be what most devices see without having to expand or scroll. So those are my tips for subject lines, but be sure to test it. Make sure that you're testing something that you can repeat. I love that hey example. It was like the winning subject line among 20 subject lines, but I can kind of never use it again because it already worked once. If we all just made hey our subject lines, it would like immediately not work. So test it for your audience and for your offer and for your message to find the right subject line for you.
Love it, Jessica. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Best. Real quick before we let you go, where can people follow along with everything that you got going in the email world?
Yeah, so I bailed on Twitter a couple years ago. Don't find me there, but I am on LinkedIn, Jessica Best. My company's name is Better Av. My last name is Best. So Better Av, like Better Avenue. And I would love to catch up with and answer any future questions you have. Find me on LinkedIn or at my website, better-av.com.
Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a hand for Jessica Best. Oh. Let me see some love in the crowd, ladies and gentlemen. Love it. Awesome. Jessica, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be here with us. Welcome to your first email camp with us. I know you've probably hung out multiple times in the crowd, but we want to thank you for being here. So we seriously appreciate it.
Thanks, Thomas. I'll see you guys in the chat all day long.
Awesome. All right, everyone, we're going to take a quick break. So let me go and get that started. See you there in just a moment.